Welcome back, everybody. Season 3, woohoo, of the Next Level Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Leslie. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been over a year since I started this podcast. And man, just in reflection, we have done some amazing topics. We've had amazing guests. We've done everything from talking about resilience and biohacks and all the different self-mastery tools and manifestation and carnivore diet and all of this amazing stuff. And it's been so much of a learning experience for me, and a lot of my listeners have really absorbed a lot of it and helped them in the community as well. This season, I'm kicking off a whole relationship series. Yes, it's time to step out of mastering ourselves for a brief few episodes and start figuring out, okay, now that we have these tools for ourselves, how do we now relate with other people? I know on my journey of the self-mastery, the way I relate to myself has changed. It has to, because I'm evolving. I've stepped into this empowered female position where I'm like, okay, I can create all these things. I'm a master of my domain. I am limitless in my creative potential. Holy shit, now what do I do when I want to interact with a man? Like, it's a totally different ballgame for me. I have dated and I had a relationship for quite some time, and it ended and it was, beautiful. But now I'm sitting here going, okay, I've really learned so much, and I'm wanting to understand, as I'm evolving, how do I relate with other people? What does a relationship for me now look like? It was different than when I was married for 14 years and had my 2 babies. Like, I'm a totally different person. And so I get to rewrite my rules and redefine. And I've done much research about this and I've learned quite a bit already. So I'm like, all right, it's time to bring on some guests so we can banter and help you, the listeners, understand a little bit more about relating as you evolve and when you've come to like a totally different personality and experience of who you are, and how do you manage that, and all of these amazing things. So the next few episodes are going to be all about relationships outside of yourself. And today, to kick off season 3's relationship series, we have Natalia. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. And I'm going to say her last name, Murua.
Perfect.
Yes? Oh my gosh. Okay, great. And so Natalia is a dating and relationship expert and coach, but you didn't start as this. You've been doing this for about 5 years, but you did some other type of coaching before, right?
Right, yes. My journey started many, many years ago when I was 14 years old. And I had a big awakening where I noticed that the young woman I was becoming, I wasn't really liking. I was following after the imprinting that my family was giving me. And unfortunately, it wasn't very healthy. They were a little bit of bullies. They were, it didn't feel right the way I was treating other people, the way I was treating my own self with my thoughts. So I decided to do something, and I am from a very small town, tiny. We just got our first movie theater now.
Wow, that is tiny.
Tiny, and but I had access to books. So I got a book. It was called Love by Leo Buscaglia.
Okay.
And Leo Buscaglia was an American psychotherapist, very famous. And I started from there. Then I got into Wayne Dyer and the different self-development, authors. And I decided at a very young age that I was going to be a psychotherapist. So that's what initiated everything. I went to uni. I got, trained as a therapist. And I became this very strong, very confident, super intellectual woman that had a lot on the outside. If you will see me from the outside, I was beautiful. I had a killer body. I had my own business. I was independent, and but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy inside. I wasn't totally content, and So that led me to be on my early 20s. I found Eastern philosophy. I got deep into that. So now we have all this psychology, Western philosophy, then we add Eastern philosophy. And that was another big movement in my life. So 14 years old was one, 22, 23 was another one. And the final one, the most transformational one, was when I moved to the States when I was 27 and still lost, still an intellectual, still, I thought I knew everything. I was always the smartest woman in the room and all that. But I was still unhappy, still looking for something. I was searching and searching and searching. And when I moved to the States, I couldn't be a therapist because I didn't speak any English. So I had to learn English and then go to university again. And by that time, I was done with long-term schooling. I was done with that. So I found coaching. And I got into this 4 days fully immersion coaching experience where I spent like from 8 in the morning to 10 at night, midnight sometimes, just doing the work. They were bam, making us face everything. And that weekend, it made sense. It's like I got it. I got what I was about. I got what my life was about. And it was like, oh my God. All the pieces came together. And I could see the colors more brighter. I could smell the smells stronger. I just got this.
Wow, I want that. I think lots of people want to know where you went.
Yes,
it's amazing.
I can say. A lot of people have these kind of experiences through different methods, different practices.
Yes.
And they're all good. Like
this one spoke to you though. And
yes.
And that's true. I've worked with people. I know lots of different people who do these retreats with, what is it, ashwagandha or whatever, the different types of things that, they're spiritual retreats or they're coaching retreats, or they're like, they lick a toxic frog and they have some hallucination and then they awaken. There's different ways that we can do it. So, but
some
this
people
one spoke
have,
with you.
Close to death experiences. There are many ways that we can wake up. They call it. I don't know if I will call it wake up, but that's what most people will. It's an awakening experience.
Yes, an awakening. It's one of those sort of charged words because people really associate it with spirituality. And I'm always very careful with that too, because even though we are, energy beings and, we have a spiritual side, it's kind of categorized as spirituality, but really I'm understanding who we are and how we interact with our reality and ourselves from more of a quantum mechanics and quantum physics type of perspective in terms of energy and vibration than just spiritual, because, religions can get mixed into that. But yes, okay. Well, so you had this sort of awakening, or this everything, all the dots, all the puzzle pieces kind of fit together. So what happened after that?
What happens next? I was in a marriage and I wasn't happy. It was an abusive marriage. And it ended. And the moment that my marriage ended, I knew with every cell in my body. I didn't get sad. I didn't get upset. I didn't get angry. There were like no feelings.
You were just done.
Yes. And I just knew that marriage and sharing my life with the right man was very important to me. Career was good, fitness is good, all that is good. I love all those things as well. But also I wanted the relationship, the good relationship. And I noticed, I kind of looked back, I was about in my early 30s, 32, and that all my relationships had sucked. It wasn't that one, that the first, heartbreak I was having. It had been really bad up until that point. So I decided to focus my attention and to use all my resources to what at the moment I said, to be an adult in relationships. That's what I called it.
Yeah, that's a great way of saying it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I did that, and I got books. I got a coach, and the first thing I did is I got a coach. I remember her name, Heidi. I still remember her smell. It's so funny.
Oh.
20 years later or so, and so she helped me through the divorce. She gave me tools and practices. So. Emotional freedom technique. I don't know if you have ever heard of that, or tapping.
Yes. Yes.
That was huge. It helped me so much. And still today, I use it with my clients.
You do. Yeah. I went through a period of time I used tapping. And then I got meditation, and meditation was really powerful. And then I created my remap process that just kind of was my own way of being able to kind of get through things very, very quickly. But yes, tapping is one methodology that I know people really benefit from.
Meditation and moving the body and different techniques. And that was the beginning. Immediately after a few months, I had this opportunity to be part of a group of ladies that were also looking to heal in this area of relationships. So I was the leader with other ladies, and I was helping them with that. And then my life took a big turn. I moved to Las Vegas, and I discovered running. And that took over. I discovered running. And by the way, I met my husband, my now husband. We have been together for over 15 years now.
Wow.
So I got the relationship. I did all the work. And then when I moved to Las Vegas, I met him organically, without dating, without doing anything.
So you were this empowered woman, but you were in these cycles of abusive relationships, verbal, emotional, physical abuse?
Yes, and it was both ways. And I don't want to play here that I was a saint.
Okay, well that's the Argentinian in you. No, I'm kidding. The spiciness, the passion. I'm kidding. But abuse is not funny. But
no.
And I can relate to that too, being very empowered in myself. I went through an abusive relationship. It's what led me into, the indictment and the resulting felony and the falling of my life, which I'm now grateful for. But it's not uncommon that I know a lot of women who are powerful end up getting into these abusive relationships, especially if we see it. My mother was very strong, yet she was doing all the things and taking the brunt of a lot of stuff. And so we learned to just kind of deal with it. And so when we evolve, when we have a very similar story, and we kind of come to this realization that, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. This doesn't work for me. I really want to create a life where I have a partner that I can appreciate, that can appreciate me. I can appreciate them. There's freedom, there's trust, there's love, there's loyalty, all of those things. And that kind of light bulb goes on. And then you just kind of get to the point where, okay, how do I create that? And so you had a coach. I have had a coach for quite some time, for almost 3.5 years. It's kind of helped me through rebuilding my life as well. Having someone that can model, firstly, I want to say to everybody out there, is really important. So if you don't have a coach, if you're lost, or you do the self-help books, but sometimes you need someone to banter off of or work with to help get through your blind spots, because sometimes we don't see it.
Right.
And it can help expedite the process too, even though like my methodology is it's like a self-help method, the remap process. But sometimes, again, there's layers that I don't see. Sometimes we just don't. That's why we have relationships and we have people in our life, because they're part of the experience too that we need. But so you kind of come to this realization, and I love that you say, and this is really how it works. It's organic. When you started focusing really on yourself, you did your inner work. So that's why we talk about the self-mastery. That's why I'm so focused on people understanding themselves, learning themselves, loving themselves, really understanding what unconditional loving acceptance is. And you become so okay in yourself and who you are. You just find the person. Right. And that's kind of what happened with you, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
But the work.
But I did a ton of work.
You did a ton of work,
yes.
Right. So let's, instead of getting into all of you can bring in some of your experiences of what you did, but let's talk about your coaching clients. Your female coaching clients are very powerful. You told me that they were like very much into fitness, and they've got their businesses and their homes, and they're like, okay, I want to have a man in my life. I'm ready, and they have these challenges. So tell me a little bit about the challenges that women have. You alluded to some masculine, feminine imbalances. So tell
Right.
me a little bit about these sort of issues, what they look like, and maybe some of the behaviors or mindset that these women have that have a difficult time attracting the kind of guy they want.
Right. So the main issue that my clients have is that they attract men that they don't like, and they kind of repel the men they like. So it's this horrible place where nobody wins. And most of the time, what I have found is that we are a little bit confused nowadays. We are a little bit confused regarding what we want and how we get it. So there is some basic laws that happen when it comes to men and women for the relationship to work. And the main law that I would like to talk about right now is the law of polarity. So for attraction to happen between a man and a woman, there has to be polarity in their energy. So there is a very good example that I can give, and it's think about a magnet. A magnet has a positive side and a negative side, and that's how they attract. If we have a magnet that is positive and positive, they repel each other.
Mm-hmm.
And same if it's negative and negative. So for attraction to happen between two individuals, regarding of their gender, this is not about biology. This is not about gender. This is about the energy that we carry, it's an identity. Dr. Carl Jung, who was a disciple of Sigmund Freud, he found out that every single human being is androgynous. We have feminine energy and we have masculine energy. Actually, when a woman gets pregnant, the first couple of days that the egg that is fertilized, it's feminine. It takes a couple of days for testosterone to kick in to make that egg masculine if it's going to be masculine. So we all have that inside of us. And Carl Jung found out through his studies that there is an anima, he called it anima and animus. And we all have it inside of us, the energy masculine and the energy feminine. So most women don't know that. And in order for women to be successful, in order for us to get on the workforce and be competitive with men, we have learned to use our masculine energy. And that works great to a certain extent, but let's say for generalization that it works great if we are an architect and we want to create a building, because that is very logic. It's like there has to be measurements and you have to have a plan and follow it. 1, 2, 3, you have to be very specific. So it works really well. Penicillin was discovered because of the masculine energy. So there is a lot of goodness that happens thanks to this masculine energy. The issue is that if the woman wants to be in a relationship with a man that is masculine, she has to choose to be the feminine energy. Otherwise, the man is not going to find himself attracted to her on the long run. At the beginning, it may happen, but once he starts to feel that he's with another man dressed up as a woman,
It's so horrible to say, but true. Yes. Yes.
he kind of starts to pull away. So, okay.
So no, that's great. My wheels are turning with questions. So what are some of the masculine energies that women exude when they're dating that make a guy feel like they're dating a man dressed up as a woman, as you say?
So the main thing that it's a lot more simple than we think. It's a lot more simple, and that's why my coaching works so well, because once they know it, it's a piece of cake. For example, when we criticize a man, when we tell a man what to do, when we text a man all the time, when we
It's like the chasing energy. When we're chasing,
right.
we need to be receiving as females. The
Right.
man is supposed to, the masculine energy
Right.
is supposed to, seek and protect and do the chasing, really, right?
Right.
Is that
Right.
okay? So texting and wanting and nagging and demanding is like repelling energy. That's masculine energy, right?
It's masculine energy.
Okay.
Yes. So
Go on.
women, to give you an idea, we are like a vase. Okay, we're like this beautiful vase, and we are totally whole and complete. We have everything inside of that vase. And the man is another vase. Our vase is full. As women, our vase is full. Hence, I don't need a man. Yeah, because we are full, whole, and complete as we are. There is nothing wrong with us. There is nothing to fix. Now, a man also is a vase. And a man feels good when he does good. Okay? And a woman feels good when she does good, when she feels good. So our job, if we decide to be the feminine energy in the relationship, because we could easily choose to be the masculine energy in the relationship, and that changes the dynamics completely. And most women I know, they want to be the feminine energy in the relationship. So, but there are some women that want to be the masculine energy in the relationship, and that's another conversation. But if the woman wants to be the feminine energy, she has to allow the guy to come and give because he feels good when he gives us. And we have to receive and give back, but give back from the overflow, the overdoing, the overgiving. All that is masculine energy. To give you an example, I think it's a funny story. My first day, so I told about how, I got a coach and I started doing the work, and eventually I ended up on Match.com. That was my first. I used it only for a while, but
I did too for like a week, and I'm like, this is so crazy.
Yeah. Well, and we are talking, it wasn't even an app back then. It was on the computer. It was like 18 years ago, so it was very different. If people said that only losers do online dating now, imagine back then. You had to be a super loser. So I was one of the first ones. I didn't care.
My name is Natalia. Was a super loser.
Yeah.
No, that's. I mean, you were invested. You
Yes.
wanted to figure this out. I commend
know
you for
what
that.
I want, and I know I'm gonna do what most people don't do to get it, and that's why I got what I got.
Yeah.
And then I made a career out of it.
Right.
So anyway, I meet this guy on Match, and we are texting. First mistake I made. We were texting each other for 2 weeks. Too long. Don't do that. Texting, when you meet a guy online, you have to he texted you first because that's the masculine energy. That first encounter, if you are at a show and you see a guy that you like, and then you see him at the lobby during the intermezzo, if you have to be in your feminine energy, look at him, count to 5, look with loving eyes, smile,
For 5 seconds.
No, count to 5. Yeah, about 5 seconds. But in your mind, go 1, 2, 3, and smile. And then look aside. And the guy knows that that was an invitation to love. He knows that. You don't need to do anything else. If he doesn't come, he wasn't for you.
Right.
Acceptance. So the first mistake I made was texting. No. If you meet a guy online, he texts you, "Hi, how are you?" You're like, "Oh, I feel great here. I am on my couch, and I am about to take a warm bath to relax after my day." And you have to make an effort in that sense to share your feelings. If you said, "I'm good, I had a good day at work," that is, you see the difference between one and the other? So he answers you back, and you go back and forth a couple of times, and then he has to ask you out. You need to meet him in person right away. So that was my first mistake. I waited 2 weeks of texting. He finally said he was going to drive to my town to meet me. So what did I do? Overgiving, overdoing. I baked him a cake. Yes.
Oh.
That's why I said it's a funny story. I have plenty of funny stories. I went on
Okay.
200 first dates in 2 years. So I
God.
made all the mistakes that are to be made. And
So what other overgiving? So all of us, all the women out there, we're listening. Okay, so no, don't bake a cake when you first meet a guy. And meet them right away. Don't do the chit chat because that's wasting your time and his. What else? What other mistakes do girls make?
another mistake that women make is pretty much the overdoing. Like they think they are being nice. And I understand that because I am a woman. But they think they are being nurturing. But they are treating the guy as they are treating a girlfriend or as they are treating a kid. And men are different. Men, in order to do good, to feel good, they have to do good. So they have to be the ones approaching you. They have to be the ones doing for you. I have had so many clients that tell me, oh, Natalia, for my birthday, he invited me to spend this weekend in Cancun with him. How am I going to, I don't have money to give him a gift as big as that one. And I'm like, don't worry.
Oh my gosh.
Don't worry. You don't have to. This is not a this for that. You just, you do something nice for him. It could be baking him a cake if you are already dating and in a relationship is appropriate. It could be something small like that. But you don't need to do and overgive. She has to give less than he does. And criticizing is a big one. Not accepting him for who he is. He doesn't call you for a day, or he's not moving as fast as you would like to in the relationship. Let's say you want to be exclusive with him, and he is not asking you to be exclusive. Not accepting that he may have his reasons why he's not asking you to be exclusive, and giving him time to come up to his own reasons to ask you to be exclusive or to ask you to be engaged. Or there are ways that we can encourage that, but asking him, criticizing him, telling him what to do, giving ultimatums, all that is only going to make him run away.
And so this is really great sort of segue here. The ultimate goal then is to have sort of a union. Is that what your coaching clients want? Is you help them get to a place of union where they can have that marriage or that sort of traditional type of relationship. So in the instance of, let's go back to the situation where the guy may not be wanting to commit, or he has his reasons or what have you, and the girl might want to. How do you coach a client in terms of, you want to be patient, or she, does she be patient? Does she give him that time? Does she see other men? Like, what is your, I've listened to a couple of other relationship coach podcasts and different things over the years, and some of them think, no, you keep dating all of the guys. You don't have to sleep with all of them. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's your own perspective or your own choice until, and some people don't even believe in girlfriend, boyfriends. They say you are a free agent until there is a proposal. I mean, that's very, very rogue, very free. But it's, again, about being feminine. It's allowing the guy to show up and give. And so what's your perspective on the multi-dating or the exclusivity and boyfriend, girlfriend, and sort of those labels and limits? Like, how do men respond to that? And sort of what's your experience?
Well, mainly a man that is interested in you will pursue you to death. That's it.
Right. And that's exactly what I've told many of my girlfriends and clients too. a guy knows what he wants.
Yes.
He will go after what he wants. If he doesn't go after you, he's not that interested, or he's got other stuff going on that are limiting him from wanting to or being able to be interested or pursue. But if he's not pursuing,
Right.
move on, really,
Move on.
right?
Yes. So there is a pace in the relationship that we could call. So my advice to my clients is the first 3 months, you meet a guy and you like him and you are dating him. The first 3 months are the infatuation, are mutual admiration. You only see the good on each other. And it's supposed to be like that. If a relationship starts with issues, get out. It's not going to get better. If you cannot like the man that you meet today, don't think that he's going to change. I mean, I always tell my clients, go on 2 or 3 days. If he's not repulsive, give him another opportunity.
He's not repulsive. I love that. Okay, so that's the guideline. Okay, this is good. If he's not repulsive, ladies, keep going. Okay.
Yes. If he treats you well and you felt good, just go on a couple of more dates, because sometimes guys make decisions. They're very logical, so it's all decisions, and they have the tendency to feel like they are on a job interview. So they feel like, that they have to perform in a certain way and whatever. So it takes them a couple of dates to relax and show you who they are.
Okay.
So let's say you went through 3 dates and he's still good and you keep dating him. The first 3 months are just to get to know him. Because there is a possibility that you are meeting him at a high point in his life. So any kind of unhealthy behavior that he may have will take about 3 months to show up. So the first 3 months are to just see who he is. I encourage them to keep themselves busy. I encourage them to date other guys. Now, dating in my world of coaching means going out for coffee, going out for a walk, going out for, a movie session. It doesn't mean going on, like I used to go when I was doing the dating, that I had no idea what I was doing, going on dinners for 3 hours. No, nothing like that. Just more casual, but keep seeing other guys so you don't overinvest in one particularly.
Right. Okay.
I particularly believe that having sex right away, it goes against us.
What are your parameters on right away? What does that look like?
That's good. Usually I said you date them, you start to know them, takes a while to know them. So patience is one of the feminine energy character traits. So be patient. Eliminate the sense of urgency, okay? The fact that you are 35 and you didn't decide to date seriously until today doesn't mean that guy owes you the ring.
Right.
Okay? Maybe you should have thought 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And give yourself time. Okay? So the sooner you start dating, if you're listening to this, the better, because it's practice. Practice, and you are not having that sense of urgency. It has to happen right now. So every man you meet is like, are you going to be the one? No, you won't know. You won't know after a while. So you are dating the guy, you like him, he is consistent with his actions, he's showing up, you feel that the relationship is getting better, every day, every week, things are getting better. You can see that he has and that he wants to grow, that he wants to learn about you, what you like, and that he's, growing a little bit, that he's a good listener, that so you are seeing all those things, that those are the things that matter in a relationship. You start to see that you have things in common. All these things, you can only see them over time. So you are knowing him. Then you start, once you know him for a while, you start to trust him. And you start to see, you trust him. Okay, he said he was gonna go take care of his niece. He did it. He is on time at work. I don't know, whatever is your sign of trust. Once you are trusting him, you have to see if you can rely on him. So you tell him, hey, I make this is a silly example, but my car broke down on the highway. Can you come help me? See if he makes an effort to come to you. I mean, you have to see that he's making an effort. For a man, it's all about investment. They're making decisions. It's all about a decision. So the more they invest in you, the more they make an effort in you, the more they're showing you that they are into you. So you see that you can rely on him. And then it's usually the time when intimacy happens and commitment happens. And there is when I believe we can have sex with the guy, always having a conversation about what that means to you. I would never, ever, ever coach a client to have sex with a guy without having a conversation of what that means to her. So it looks something like this. Oh my God, and in the meanwhile, you can fool around all you want. You can kiss him, you can, go first base, second base, whatever. But to the act of the sexual encounter, because nature is against us, Leslie, when it comes to sex.
I know, right?
That's it. It's biology. I know you're science oriented like me, so
yes, it's 100% true. Sorry, ladies.
Yes, we get attached to them.
We do. The oxytocin goes through the roof. I've looked at the research on this. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I can't remember the exact number, but it's about at least 5 times the levels that men have. I think it might even be 8 times the levels men have. I mean, and that's the bonding. Oxytocin just floods us and it's bonding. We're just like, oh, guys get relief and women like attach. It's a big deal.
That's the same hormone we release when we are breastfeeding with the baby. That allows us to attach to the baby.
Exactly.
And men don't have it, ladies. Men don't have
it. They have a very small, it's like a boop, maybe enough to cuddle after, and then they roll over and go to bed. That's like a little hiccup. Yes.
So what I coach them and teach them and to do is to say, oh my God, it feels so good when you touch me. I really enjoy it. I could do it all day long, like Captain American. I could do all these all day long. But for me to have sex with you, I just need to know what this means. Because when I have sex with you, I will get more attached with you and I will have more needs. So I will need you to call me every day, and I will need to see you 3 times a week. And I will also need to be exclusive. Otherwise, it's just going to feel yucky for me and it's going to bring the worst out of me. So what do you think? So you talk to him from your feelings, because women, when we choose to be in the feminine energy, we share our feelings with him. But feelings is the connection to his heart. Now, the bridge the last piece of bridge that connects us to him so he can hear us is, what do you think? Because they're logical. So if we say, what do you feel? He's going to be like, what do you mean? What do I feel? I don't know. Men don't know. They're not connected to their feelings, most of them, unless they have done a lot of work, and those are far in between. So
right.
With your regular man, you're going to be like, what do you think? And he's going to be like, well, of course I want to be exclusive with you. I don't want to see any other woman. And, and yes, seeing you 3 times a week will be great. And, and if he says, I'm sorry, but I'm not there yet, you take it as a queen. Acceptance. You accept him for who he is, and you accept his decision making. You accept that he has his reasons to do that. And with as big a smile as you can put in that moment, because you actually want to kill him, but you said something like, okay, that's perfect. And this is all I can give you right now, and you don't tell him that you're going to date other guys. You don't tell, no, you actually go and date other guys, and you keep dating him. You don't have to drop a man. The only reason to drop a man is if he's violent, if he's a cheater, if he has addiction problems, if he's abusive. Those are all reasons to drop them. Like, don't even look back. Bye. Bye-bye.
Yes.
But if he's not in the same place where you are and you like him and you would like to give yourself the opportunity to make it work, you keep seeing him, but you keep seeing other guys. Because when you see other guys, you do not overinvest in this guy that is not there yet. And if he's the one, he's going to see that because he's going to call you on a Saturday afternoon and say, hey, let's go for a drink. And you're going to be like, oh, that would feel amazing, but I'm busy tonight. And he's going to be like, what? What do you mean you're busy? Right. What are you doing? And you're going to be like, oh, I'm going on a date. What? Are you dating other? Well, you see, we had the conversation and you weren't ready, so I had to keep my options open. It's the truth.
It's the truth, yes.
It's the absolute truth. We are smart, accomplished women, and, we come from an abundance mindset that there are many guys that can make us happy. We may think at the moment that he is the golden ticket on Willy Wonka, but there are many golden tickets. I'm going to be 50 next week. I'm telling you.
You look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I see it with a lot of clients that, they feel so down because this guy ghosted them after they had sex without having the conversation. And, I help them to keep going. And then sure enough, they meet another guy, they get engaged, they get married, they get the babies and everything. So it's just temporary. And the more you take care of yourself, this is a side effect that I don't think many people talk about. The more you take care of yourself, the more you have the difficult conversations now, so you don't have to have the difficult pain later. The more you do these things and have healthy boundaries and explain what you want.
It's self-respect. It's saying, this is what I want and I need. It's being an adult in a relationship.
Right.
I have
It's
needs. These are my
intelligence.
needs. If you can't meet them, okay, I accept that and walk away. That takes an enormous amount of inner strength and knowing yourself and self-esteem and confidence.
Dignity.
So we're talking about things here that seem so easy, but the infrastructure you need to be able to do that. And that's where you say the inner work comes in.
Yes.
It's really knowing yourself and loving yourself and being okay with being alone and knowing how to have boundaries and what boundaries are. And there's a big foundation.
There is a big foundation. Yes, there is a big foundation. But so that's how we deal with that. So then he has, this man has a little contract with you. And a good man will respect the contract.
How do you know, and I want to ask you this before, how do you know when you're dating, from even your experience, the however many, 200, 300 guys you dated, how do you know the good guys from the bad guys? Because, and we'll get back to your question, you assume that he's going to honor that contract. But are there little tells along the way that can tell us whether someone is going to honor a contract or not, or who's a good guy, who isn't?
Yes, and I touched on it already a little bit, but
like the trust, you want to make sure they're trusting and reliable. But are there other specific tells? Like if a guy says or does this, it's like a hard line. Other than the abuse and the other things, but are there little secrets that you can share with us about what guys do or say?
Unfortunately, there are no secrets because nowadays there is a lot of information. So a guy may tell you the secret that the YouTuber told them, and it's not true. So it's time. The 3 first months, remember, are mutual admiration. So the first 3 months are enjoy them, because the second, third 3 months are when you start to see the differences. And that is when you know if the guy is more serious or not. Because then the second 3 months is when you're going to start to see the defects on him and he's going to start to see the effects on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you see if you have what it takes to deal with that. I can deal with things that my husband does that not many women could. And he can deal with things I do that not too many men could.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that we can. That is something that we are okay with it. It doesn't affect us in a negative way.
Mm.
We accept that. I accept it. I accept certain things about him because I know love is not perfect. And it's not about finding a perfect man. It's about finding an imperfect man that you can love perfectly.
Mm. That's very well said. I haven't heard it like that before. That's great.
Right. And you will only know with time. So that's why you have to take your time. And if he's rushing you, if
That's
he's
a red
rushing
flag.
you and
I've been
pushing
there.
you, talking. Say what you want and say what you don't want. It doesn't feel good to me to be rushed. I want to have more time. What do you think? And if he keeps pushing you and pushing you around, that's a guy that I would not leave. A lot of coaches are like, oh, leave him, leave him, leave him. I don't know. I think there are times that you can do something else. You can just date other guys. That's why it's so important, so important that we don't have sex without having the exclusivity conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that if we want to take that step as women, we have to know what is coming. It's coming we are going to get bonded to him. We are going to, if we break up, it's going to take us a lot longer to heal from that. So that's why it's very, very important that we take our time before we take that step of being exclusive with a guy and
Yes, and it's funny because I know some girls who have had multiple partners, and it's a very masculine energy, but the biology always catches up.
yes.
They try to have the boundaries, they try to just, be with this guy and that guy or whatever. But either way, there's a bonding and there's always feelings that get hurt. Women try. They try to really embrace that masculinity because the women, their sexual freedom and they want to enjoy themselves and all the things, but it catches up. That oxytocin, that bonding is just, it's there. So I really appreciate actually what you're saying about that conversation and, taking the time. It really does work with our biology and really our femininity.
It's a constant negotiation.
Yes.
What makes a relationship work, it's a transaction. It's constant communication. And we women have all the power. We have all the power. Because guys can't be without us. Guys adore us. And guys just need us way more than we need them at the end of the day. So we have all the power. We have the power to say, there is a line here, and this is as much as I'm willing to give right now. And we can say, no, this is not going to play with me. If the guy, let's say you go out with a guy and you have a great time, and then he texts you next day and say, oh, I had a great time, let's get together again. And then he doesn't text you for 2 weeks, and you go out again because, you really liked him, and he does that again. He kind of goes cold and hot. It's called hot and cold, hot and cold. So in that case, it's for your advantage. You have to tell him. You have to let him know. It feels like a bid for attention, and I am really, really looking for somebody that can be consistent and that knows what he wants, and that feels good all the time. And my relationship with you feels good when I am with you, but when I'm not with you, I don't feel good. And that's one of the signs that you are with the right guy. You feel good when you are with him, and you feel good when you are not with him.
That is so dynamite because I can relate to that so much where I've been dating somebody and I feel great with them. I feel great all the time. But when you really have, this exceptional type of magic with somebody, it's like, oh, I feel so good. But then when you're away from them, it's
Yeah.
weird. I've noticed that, there's some people you're just like, I don't feel great when we're apart. There's too much distance or separation. And I'm not a needy person by any means. I've really analyzed myself over the years that I had been dating, and like, it's just sometimes there's too much space. There just isn't a feeling good in that separation. So
Yeah.
it's a big tell. And that has been something that I know for myself. If I don't feel good when I'm apart from that person and with them, there's something wrong. I couldn't put my finger on why necessarily that was the case at that time, but I definitely saw that pattern. So that's a really important one to
Right.
share for sure.
And it doesn't mean that you have to stop seeing the guy. You just keep dating other guys, and the right guy will come along. And if you do that, it's gonna happen fast. It's gonna happen really fast. Like my clients, they meet their guy between 6 months to 9 months of working with me. And they're coming from, some of them, from very hard situations where they are heartbroken, betrayed, and we had to do a lot of the deep work. So depending on the repair we have to do, the faster it happens. So because I don't want these women, your listeners, to think that, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do that for 5 years. No, actually, if you take your time and you pay attention to this area of your life, which is the love life, which is really important for most women. It doesn't matter how much money you are making. It doesn't matter how much, success you get. It doesn't matter how many friends you have. I bet you, if you are in Positano and you are with a girlfriend, I can assure you a couple of times you're going to think that you would like to be with a man instead of your girlfriend.
Yes, in Positano for sure.
Yes. So it's very, very important. And if they handle, if they manage to make time and follow the coaching, it happens really fast.
It's amazing.
It's not that they have to do it forever.
So let's go back to where people can reach you. You have a website, you're on social media, obviously. Where should we direct people?
Well, I felt inspired to offer something to your viewers. So it's a free coaching session with me. It's a love breakthrough coaching session. And if they are interested in booking it, they can do it sending me an email to my lovecoachnatalia@gmail.com. And it's very simple. Just send me an email there and say, Leslie sent me. So I know they come from you. And we will book a completely free, not strings attached conversation where I am going to give them 3 steps that they can take right there and then to take their love life to the next level. It's a lot more simple than people think. Once you know, and once you accept that you want to get married and that you want to be in an amazing relationship with your man, with the man of your dreams, and you are willing to be humble enough to ask for help and to realize that, yes, men have a lot of work to do too. But can we control that? No, we can't. So we do the work. I did the work on myself. When my husband showed up, I could accept him for who he was. 5 years before I met him, I would have never even looked at him.
Wow.
He wasn't my type at all. At all. My type was probably one mortal living in Manhattan. And, I wasn't even living in New York. So, yes. So, but I could see and I could take my time. I took my time. I like to say that my superpower is to turn women from fear lovers to fun lovers. And one of the character traits of the fun lover is she honors her desire of being in a sacred union relationship with a man. That could be marriage, that could be another sacred kind of contract. And she knows it's not going to fix her life. She knows it's going to add more to her life.
That's beautiful. And that's exactly how it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
we need to be whole and have wonderful, fulfilling lives on our own. And I think when women are in this place of needing, right? There's need and want. A lot of women think they need a man. We want a man. We have all the things. Yes, there's I guess you could say, our hearts desire certain things. So to feel fully experiencing what we want, there's a need. But really, when we break it down, we want to feel full. And we want to add someone to our life to make the magic better and bigger. Actually, when I was getting divorced and I started dating again, my brother Patrick, who's a forever bachelor until more recently, he said, Leslie, you don't want a man to make your life easier. You want a man to make it better.
Right. That's beautiful.
And I mean, coming from my brother, shout out to Patrick there, who, hadn't been in any marriage or anything, but it actually resonated with me for a long time because it's true. I needed to be, though, in a great place and them make it better, not from a need place, though, either. So I really like that. It's very interesting because this swing of women becoming so empowered. There was a guy friend of mine, I hadn't heard this term a couple of years ago, chicks with dicks. Have you heard that? Where the women have become so masculine and so business focused and so they don't know how to switch off. And I'm sure that's something too that your clients have an issue with, is going from business mode to feminine mode. I'm sure that just being able to toggle that light switch on and off, okay, I'm at home, I need to be feminine. I'm at work, okay, I get to be masculine, is probably a challenge for a lot of them to adapt to.
It is a challenge. And even me, that I am a professional, sometimes I forget.
Oh, really? And so how does that happen if you go home to your husband and you're still in your masculine energy? Does he just run away? What does that dynamic look like?
Let me think.
Or do you guys have just this communication and this understanding, okay, honey, does he do something? He knows you well enough to bring you into your femininity?
Well, the energy, there is a word.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So it's predominantly, okay? This is an important word to know. It's not that we have to be in our feminine energy with our guy 100% of the time. It's just a conscious decision that we make based on our self-awareness and self-knowledge of what do I want to be? Do I want to be respected for my thinking? Do I want to be respected for my intellect and for my accomplishments and for my car and for my house? Or do I want to be cherished? Cherished for who I am, cherished for my feelings.
Because, as you said when we were chatting on our pre-call, men want us to feel. We bring the feeling to them.
Right.
They don't care about our intellect. They don't care about our car and our success and our businesses and any of the bullshit. They want our femininity, which is the feeling.
Right.
They feel through us.
Right.
Is, I think, how you kind of said it in a way.
Right. They get to see the fullness of life through us.
Right.
But, I think I lost my train of thoughts why I was saying that. Predominantly. So there are going to be times where I have to be the masculine energy sometimes, because if he's doing something, let's say, I don't have kids, but let's say I have a kid and he's having a really bad day for some reason. We all have bad days. And he's manhandling the kid. I will step up because it's appropriate at that time. So it's not that we are all, whatever he does, where it's good. No, we do express what we don't want. And we can be on if let's say our partner loses a dear family member. Yes, I probably he's gonna be out of it, and he's not gonna know how to book that flight to California. So I do have to jump up and say, okay, let me get your suitcase ready, and I'll book the flight, and I'll get the rental, and we are gonna be there. Da, 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 da. So yes, of course we do have times where we use it, but it's predominantly, mostly, we have to choose to be in our feminine energy. And how do I handle it? It was a lot of training, and sometimes I just get out of the house. Like the other day, without going too far, he was doing something that I wasn't approving, and I didn't wanted him to see me with my face because I can show it with my face. And I didn't want to say anything. I wanted to trust him. So I went outside of my house and I said, trust him, trust him. I couldn't trust him at the moment. So I said, trust him. This is coming from fear. He knows what he's doing. He's perfectly capable. It's just your fear creeping up on you. Just trust him. Trust him. What happened? He came to the backyard and said, what happened? What's going on? Why are you here? And I said, I felt a little bit anxious, and I needed to relax. And he's like, oh, everything is good. Everything is good. Everything went well. I handled it well, and everything was perfect.
Wow, great.
So in the past, I would have yelled at him, told him what to do, and that he was a loser, and a bunch of other things. Thrown a rock if I had it close by.
Wow,
I
okay.
mean,
Yeah,
everything. Yes, and I learned through pain, and that's how we learn. Most of the time, we have to go through a lot of pain to learn and ask for help. I'm not sure if that answered your
Yes,
question.
absolutely. And more so, and more so. That's beautiful. One last question before we wrap up. Does the dating world differ for men and women who have been divorced and have children?
It does. It does. And funny enough, sometimes with some particular clients that are single and no kids, I tell them, imagine you have kids and you have to set boundaries as if you have kids. And that I will answer your question now. Yes, when you are a woman and you have kids, you have to decide for your own how you are going to manage the visiting, if he's going to come to your house or if you're going to go to his house, and how much time you're going to allow them to be with them. You have to make a lot of decisions in advance, and you have to tell him, my kids are my priority. They are the apple of my eye. They are the thing that I care most in this world, and I feel like they need more time with me. So can we meet tomorrow instead of today? Or I feel like my kids need more time to get adjusted to you, so I would like you to not visit my house until we are exclusive and marriage is on the table.
Yeah, okay.
You have your right to express absolutely everything you want, as long as you don't make it a demand.
Sure.
So, but ladies, express everything you want and what you don't want. I don't want to be yelled. If you keep yelling at me, I'm going to walk away. And then you do walk away if he keeps yelling. That's the important part, because, I don't have sex on the first date. And then you have sex on the first date. He lost respect for you. That's it.
Yep.
He thinks you are having sex with everybody. So even if you're not. So keeping the word integrity is huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
love
you have to, if you are married, if you're divorced and you have kids, you have to be very clear on what your boundaries are, what is best for your kids. You have to have a conversation with your kids and let them know that you are doing this, and that maybe, I don't know, depending on the kind of mom you are, maybe ask them, if what they think, or I don't know. But yes, you have to have boundaries.
Yeah. Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I've just absorbed so much. This is going to be so helpful for my listeners. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, you're welcome. My pleasure.
We might have to have you back again just to dive a little bit more into the, I really like, because there's a lot of people that have been divorced and the kids and the blended family and the complexity of that. And so, I mean, we can dive more into, I'm sure you have clients that have kids and you've coached them on dating. That's definitely something I think would be fascinating. When we don't have any baggage and we're young, it's a little bit easier to date, I think. But once we've had relationships and our own baggage going through, that can be, I think, a little bit, adds another layer.
Yeah,
right?
It's a little bit different, but it's doable.
But the same mechanics are there.
Yes.
It's the feminine, masculine energy.
Yes.
Attraction, just more communication, I suppose.
It's communication.
Yeah.
Communication, negotiation, knowing who you are, knowing your value.
And expressing your feelings and what you want and don't want. Love it. Wrapped up those points there. All right, you guys. Until next time.